0 got the miles per hour on that. Of course, first gear, totally spinning. Second gear hooked pretty well. I've got my draggy here, but unfortunately my draggy died on me, which really sucks. And I have, let's see, IO monitors, 30% of ethanol mix right now. They were out of ethanol yesterday, so I was only able to put 5 gallons of ethanol from my gas can in, which I already had well over a half tank, so that's why I only have about 30%. But I'm gonna get that back up to about, when I fill it full of E, it's usually about 78% ethanol, which is not bad. But right now, I'm not gonna get, you know, near the power that I would normally get to hopefully click off some 4.7 60 to 130 times. If I can do that with a normal second to third shift, that is definitely rolling out. I don't care what you say, that's definitely 1,000 wheel horsepower. If you can take a manual transmission C7 and do a 60 to 130 in a 4.7, just, you don't see that. I mean, somebody showed me a video where somebody's standard shifting a C7, not a no lift shift. My no lift shifts, unfortunately, with the amount of power, it's bouncing off the rev limiter, and I'm not able to actually get a good shift that way. It's just not working out very well. So I think the no lift shift is, I don't know, maybe it's a Procharged port injection thing, I don't know, but it's probably, well, it's obviously built for the stock horsepower, stock car, not a triple disc-mantic, not 1,000 horsepower, blah, blah, blah. So let me go back to multi-gauge. I've got multiple sensor setups here. This one's RPM, ignition timing. I'm gonna try and get some of both. That way I can record and look back at this later, look at my air-fuel ratio, look at my timing, look at my fuel pressure. The other one has oil pressure. I've got a secondary oil pressure sensor, so I can check oil pressure, I can check, I'm also checking port, injector duty cycle, flow rate, all of that stuff as well on my other one. So I try to get some video of both to give me some insight into all of that. You know, it gives me manifold air temperature. I'm at 90 degrees on manifold air temperature. I'm at 0% duty cycle on my port injectors. Throttle position 15, fuel pressure 53, 54, because I'm in vacuum right now. So when I go over this hill, I'm gonna slow down a little bit and try and click off another kind of first to second, and see what I get here. And hopefully there's no police up here. That's why I'm doing first to second and not second to third, because I don't want to get pulled over 100 miles an hour, because that gets there really quick, by the way. So I'm going to ease into it. That was not bad, about to 95 miles an hour. I don't know how many seconds that was, but that felt pretty darn good. Unfortunately, it was kind of pulling me so hard I couldn't really focus on the numbers. But I don't know what my air-fuel ratio was, what my duty cycle for my port, all that. I need to go back and analyze this video. But I'll post this on YouTube just to show you that I've got some runs coming. Car seems to be running pretty strong. I mean, I'm more or less on pump gas right now. Once I get up to about 75 to 80% ethanol, this car really wakes up on the top end, big time on the top end, because I'm not pulling as much ignition timing out. You know, I'm just, obviously ethanol's cooler, you know, I'm just getting more fuel in there. It's 30% more fuel. timing is a lot more aggressive, so I'm gonna make more power, which is just logical. So all right, one of the things that I wanted to point out is, I don't know if you can see my oil temperature gauge over here, but it is dead at 200 degrees. And one of the things I noticed after my runs, it doesn't move. I mean, that improved racing three core oil cooler that I put up, you know, with the improved racing billet adapter that dumped all the coolant to oil factory cooler stuff, is absolutely killing it. I mean, that is the best mod I have ever done. I cannot stress how 13.5 quarts of oil, and it is keeping this engine absolutely perfectly cool at 200 degrees. And with the 200 degree thermostat, it doesn't even take long to warm the oil up. So that was, a lot of people get worried about doing a dedicated oil cooler because it takes forever to get the engine up to temp with the oil, but not with the improved racing thermostat built in. It just shuts, there's no flow till your oil gets up to temp. 200 degrees, bam, -12 Fragola lines flowing all that oil up front to a horizontal mounted up front, right in front of my intercooler, right actually where the 17 and up extra coolant heat exchanger is set. I had to modify and make all that work, but man, it is just working so well. Let me get back to the speedo over here. I am praying that you can see the speedo from the GoPro, and I can obviously read all this stuff too, because that's going to be critical for me to analyze all this stuff later. But let me see if I can get straight a little bit. Obviously, with these ET Street R's, I don't want to be doing too much. I'm gonna pull over a little bit here because I don't know who this is behind me, and if it's a popo, yeah. Woo, Lord have mercy. All right, okay, that was pretty nasty. That was nasty. I don't know if on camera, you know what I mean, like how all that looks or whatever, but that felt nasty. Those ET Street R's were spinning, but also hooking. And when I hit second, man, that thing got sideways, but it was still pulling, which is a weird feeling. Normally with the Cup 2s, I get sideways and you feel like you're about to die. You know, you're basically correcting, trying not to hit a tree or a telephone pole. But the ET Street R's, totally different feeling. I mean, it's like you're sideways, but you're still being put back in the seat. It is incredible. That is a weird feeling. But man, I mean, oh my goodness. This car is absolutely, definitely stronger than it was before. No question about it. This car is strong. It feels stronger now on pump gas almost than it did on ethanol. So I definitely had problems with the car before. Everybody knows that, no doubt. Had a bad crank, had oil pressure issues, you know, you name it. But I'm gonna make one more run here and try to ease into it. Let me slow down a little bit. Keep forgetting I'm on drag radials in the back. I mean, I can't be taking turns like damn Mario Andretti here. So, yeah, wow. I'm just trying to, you know, little by little push the car. A little harder. Little harder, seeing if I have any kind of like little, you know, issues. nagging issues pop up, boost leaks. I want to see if, you know, obviously the Holley automatically logs data once I get over a certain RPM and boost. So I've got an SD card in here I'm going to take out. I'm going to send the logs to my tuner, let him take a look at those. I am not logging with my HP tuner software because I have to have a laptop and all of that stuff, which I do. I just don't have all that with me right now. I'll be doing that shortly as well. But really what I don't want to do a ton of logging until I get all of the ethanol in the car. Once I get the ethanol in the car, you know, then that's another story. So man, second gear goes. Second gear is goes pretty quick, I have to say. 1.5 seconds. I don't know. It's moving. These drag radials, man, these ET Street R's are something else, man. The Cup 2s, I could never put this power to the ground ever in second gear, much less first. And the ET Street R's, if I feather it and kind of feather it and get into it, they'll more or less hold. I just can't dump, you know, obviously I could do boost by gear. I do have a 46mm precision wastegate. I have boost by gear, boost by speed, all that, boost by RPM, all set up. Chris Crawford set all that stuff up for me. I just need to TIG weld the wastegate, you know, into my charge pipe system. But that requires me to move the math basically post wastegate. You can't have the math of the intercooler and then the wastegate letting air out after the fact. That's bad, because now you're going to be measuring air, you know, that is obviously a full amount, and then you're going to let air out and your engine's going to be like, what the hell? Like, it's not going to get it. So, and I already have all this. I have all the adapters. I've even got the pipe where has the math flange mount. It's a 3-inch and it mounts right into my charge. You know, I'll TIG weld it into my charge pipe system. And the cool part is I even I'm sorry, I'm not even paying attention. I can't even shift gears. But the cool part is I have the honeycomb air straightener, which is really, really important for mass airflow sensors on these cars. If you've got any kind of turbulent air hitting that math, you've got a big problem. The signal will look like crap and your car will run like crap. So that's why you got to be really careful about that, you know, the mass airflow sensor on these cars. And that's why it's located right post intercooler, on the cold side of the intercooler, coming out of the fins, because the fins straighten the air, hit the math, and then it goes into the charge pipe. And there's a reason. There is an absolute reason why it's done that way. So anyway, yeah. And I could take air out. I've got all